Hi, everyone, and welcome to this edition of Awaken Your Magic. My name is Tracy Nicholas, and I am here writing about magical things and talking about magical things and giving some tutorials. I also have a community over in school, and you can join in there so you can be an ongoing part of conversations about magic. So let me ask you this. Have you ever felt like you wanted to bring your magic with you, to have it be there, be present, and continue on with a relationship by keeping your magical workings right there with you in your purse, in your pocket, worn around your neck, whatever it is? Well, if you have ever wanted to do that, today is going to be a really fun tutorial in which we make our own uh, magical uh, charm bags. And so I'm going to talk a little bit about what that is. And essentially, a charm bag is a collection of items that are meaningful either to you personally or possibly possibly in correspondences that other people have come up with, things that you connect symbolically to, and you assemble them, you put them in a bag or a sachet, and you infuse your intentions into it. And the difference really between a charm bag and a sachet is that a charm bag has an open top that is tied with a cord or something like that. A sachet is typically sewn shut. And so it's a difference in that um, it's like you seal it a little better. When you don't have the top open, it's just like it's not sealed in with your intention quite as much. Still completely effective. So I wouldn't worry about it if you don't have the sewing skills. I'm not going to do a sachet today because I don't want to take the time to sew, and then you can see how embarrassingly bad my hand sewing skills are. So we're just going to do a charm bag. Now, there's lots of different names for it, and you see these all over the world. There's your bag. Jill's got her bag. um, they're called a conjure bag, a medicine hand, a dilly bag, an amulet bag. And when you refer to something as a hand, like instead of a medicine bag, a medicine hand, that's going to be referring to the sachet, because essentially when you refer to a hand, it means it's closed. And so that's the sachet that's sewn up. Now, in there are different kinds of sachets. Typically they're muslin, and typically there's only botanicals in them. And the other kind is with flannel. And there are botanicals, but also various other items. And we're going to be making something along those lines today. I'm not going to be sewing up a flannel bag, but you and the flannel comes from like hoodoo voodoo, but weirdly it's also a British thing. So I don't know how it came across the pond, but and I'm not going to really talk about different traditions. We're just talking about a general charm bag that you can make for yourself. Now, the bag is created for a specific purpose, and you're going to choose the ingredients that go into it intentionally based on what you want to do. And the power in it comes from the combination of ingredients and also your intentions. And often you'll carry it on your body, like I said, worn around your neck, or maybe in a pocket, that kind of thing. Sometimes you may feel like you need to refresh your intention in the bag. If you've been, feeling like you're leaning on it heavily and you've used up the intention that you had, you might want to do that. And we're going to go through a process in which you're going to infuse your intention. Now, I think that you can do general like general kinds of spells. You can say, I want prosperity or I want abundance, right? And if you're going to do a generic abundance spell, you would put things in there like basil, which is for abundance. You would put cinnamon because it's success, momentum. Bay leaf, and that is for wishes coming true. Maybe you'd put mint in there for financial growth. And you could put a written intention. Here's what I want. I want abundance. You might put a small coin in there that either it's a significant date that was a lucky year for you, or it's something that has some personal meaning. Or you could just put a coin in there. So again, it's about what you have and how you use what is around you. Now, I think that when you're doing it, being more specific is better than doing general spells like that. If you say, I want more money, right? I want money to come into my life. Well, you might go out and about in the world and you find a $5 bill on the sidewalk. There you go. You've got more money in your life. So if you're thinking about prosperity, think about what it looks like for you. So does that mean steady clients? Does that mean creative opportunities that bring me money? Does that mean, feeling comfortable in, financial security, feeling comfort? Or maybe it's feeling that comfort and then having extra that you can do what you want with. And all of those are valid ways to look at what you want your outcome to be. And when you're creating your bag, you're going to sort of weave those intentions throughout. And you will be thinking about that sort of very specific outcome or outcomes. You might have more than one thing that prosperity means to you, or that, good health means to you. Maybe you have a specific condition that you're going to create a bag to help you focus your intention on getting better with that condition, help you, heal. So you're going to ask yourself questions, and actually I'm going to go through a couple of various options for you. And you can, like I said, you can just take a piece of cloth, a square of cloth, and you can put all of your ingredients right in the middle, and then just gather up the corners and tie it with a string. But I am, as you know, a collector. So you can do bags like these, which then you can still see your spell. But you'd have to be very careful not to have, powdered ingredients in there because it'll come out. I've got this one, which is for peace, and it has lavender buds in it. And so it also smells really nice. And it's got the little lavender embroidery on it. And no, I did not do that. This is just a regular cloth bag, and it's not mesh. And I've got plenty of those. I've got these little black velvety bags. I've got this green bag, which I had considered using, but it's so teeny tiny. And I am going to do a prosperity spell, and I want big money. I don't want little money. So I decided not to use that one. I also considered this one. I had purchased some of those little good luck Chinese coins. And I was like, yeah, that's the coins. But ultimately, I decided not to do that because I want my bag to be a little bit smaller than what this one is, because there'd be a lot of herbs. I almost used this one because it's adorable. But I'm one of those people that it's like, if I use it up now, what if I want to use it for something else later? So I decided not to use that one. This is an adorable one, and it's muslin, and it's got the embroidery and the little cute pieces. I actually got a really fancy dragon beeswax candle in this. And this is another one of those bags. I'm like, I can't use it because then I won't have it anymore. So now, this came with a game. So it's got some like lettering on the front, which is why I decided not to use that one. This one, again, it's plain cloth, muslin, but it's huge. Like that would be a very large bag. You can, if you want, do leather bags. And these are, very simply stitched through. And this one is stitched the whole way through. This one is not stitched at all, and it's just tied up. And so you got to make sure you tie it tight. So yes, Karen, absolutely. um, and you're going to find out in just a few short moments that I am also that same kind of person with jars. Yes, I am that witch who is like, but this is such a lovely jar. It's so useful. I am sure I have in my kitchen one of the cabinets, and it's only like from the counter down. It's not the whole floor to ceiling, but one of my cabinets is for jars. And although there are fewer jars making the cut now because it's perpetually that cabinet is filled up. But yeah, I love me some jars. So this is the bag ultimately that I went with because it's a good size for me, and I like the silver of the cord because it, signifies money, coins. So that's just a color correspondence. Now, you can, let's see. So what I have decided to do today for my herbs is I'm going to put kava kava because it is for good luck. And I think that sometimes when you're talking about prosperity, you have the luck of meeting a certain person. You have the good luck of stumbling upon, the right masterclass or seminar. Puck says hi, everybody. The next thing that I have is elderberries. And as you can see, my jar collection, right? And this is for prosperity. So I'm going to put that in there when the time comes. Bay leaves. I believe this was a spaghetti jar. But I got these massive bay leaves at the local little ethnic shop. And so that is standard for prosperity. I've decided to go with Oregon grape root, which is for prosperity and to draw money in. Now, I didn't have any basil because usually I only use fresh basil. I don't use dried basil. But what I do have is a basil salt that I made last year. And I figured, salt is protective. So that's a good idea. And then it's got the basil in it. You can still see some little pieces in there. But I had at the end of last season, I had more pesto in the freezer than any sane person should have. So I decided to dry the last of my basil and use it for the basil salt. Now, so that's the bags and the herbs. The other thing that we might put in our bags are charms. And I have got, because I like to make jewelry, I got my jar of charms. And I actually did go through this beforehand because I didn't want to be having you guys watch me dig through my jar of charms. So what I decided to go with is this one is, oh, you can't see it. I'll put my hand in front. Well, it's a little money bag. And it's got a little dollar sign on the front. The next thing is a wee little cauldron. And it's, just because I feel like, if I'm going to use my magic to make money, I should throw the magic in there. This is a little tiny teapot because I really love tea. I have a morning ritual in which I drink tea, and it sort of feels very safe. And so it feels like it's, being protected in the home. And the last thing is a little tiny key. And for me, the key says it's going to open doors, open opportunities for me as I'm moving forward with my prosperity. Final thing, go ahead.
So Karen asked, where do you get those charms that you've got? I know that you said you collect them, but did you get them somewhere originally?
Yeah, originally I got them on Amazon, and it was like you can get 100 or 150 for, $3, $5. They're super cheap, and then you've got your collection. So yeah, that was just because I do a lot with charms, I just ordered. And if you're looking for things like charms, or something that you want a collection of, I usually add the word craft to what I'm looking for, because if you just search for charms, then a lot of times you'll get like an individual charm that's like,
$1 million.
35. Yeah, exactly. So I usually do like craft, because that's what these kinds of collections are, made for.
You can find them on Michael's too, or at Michael's.
Yeah. Any craft store you can find them. Okay, so any other questions before I forge ahead? No? Okay. Thank you, Jill. Yeah, Hobby Lobby and Michael's. Okay, so this is a buffalo tooth. And I know, Jill, you want to laugh so hard. It's fine. The reason I'm including this is because it makes me think about the rune Urus. And Urus is like the cattle. It's the cow. And so that is a symbol of abundance. But most people just stop there. And we talked about this, I think, last time. But when you think about the cattle, it also brings with it a sense of responsibility. And the sense of responsibility, for me, it says, yeah, I'm going to have to do things in the mundane world to make this prosperity happen. I'm not just going to like magic prosperity toward me. And so I like the idea of reminding myself that it's like, okay, this isn't all you have to do. Like, you've got to get out there. You've got to go meet people, and then those opportunities will come to you. You've got to go out and put yourself out there and make comments so you're more visible, and all of those sorts of things. So yeah, so that's kind of what I'm doing there. Now, another thing that you might put in there is crystals. Now, I'm going to show you my collection of small crystals, which is in this case. I have to be very careful. I'm going to lean this back toward me so I can show you what my crystal collection looks like. And as you can see, what I've got in there is, it's like one of those little things from the hardware store that is for like screws and nails and stuff. And it's just like, got these little plastic drawers that I've got labeled. So yeah, that's my little collection. My big crystals are all over the house. But I was not going to, and it's heavy, by the way. I haven't pre-planned which crystals I'm going to use. So I'll be picking out crystals based on color correspondences, basically. So I'm going to be looking for the greens and the ambers. So now, when you go to do your bag and you've gathered your supplies, stop and take a minute, right? What do you want the bag to do? What are you calling into your life? And what do you want this bag to support? And also, how do you want to feel, right? Now, at this point, you can, if you choose, write down on a piece of paper any of those things and make that into your specific, your very specific, here's what I'm looking for. And for me, like, I've got the responsibility, I've got the abundance, I've got the, idea that I'm going to go meet more people, which I like to do. But also, I want to have fun. I want to be able to do my writing and do these videos and talk to people and enjoy what my work is. So that's going to be part of it for me as well. Now, you don't have to write that down if you don't want to. You can just think about it. You can turn it into a sigil if you want. And if you don't know how to do that, you can go back and look at my videos, and you will see there is a session on how to create a sigil. And so you would take your phrase and turn it into a sigil if you wanted to put that into your bag. So, and again, it's like, think about how you want to be feeling. Think about what it is specifically that you want, and it'll help you focus as you're making the bag. Now, if you're ready, Jill, and if anybody else is playing along, I think we're just gonna go ahead and start. So first, now that you have the clarity, take your bag. Oh, I did not lose my bag. And you're going to put the ingredients in one at a time. And you can speak it aloud. You can say it to yourself. I've told you why I like what magical properties, all of the herbs that I've put in. So, I can say I'm, adding elderberries for prosperity and wish manifestation, And so you just, as you go through, I'll start with, I think I'll start with the elderberries. Oh, maybe I won't. Oh, there we go. I guess I should have loosened those all before I started. Hopefully I can get into all of them. All right. So now I've flung my bag away. Okay, so I am going to start. And again, you can say this silently in your head, but make sure that you think about each of the herbs and what they mean to you. So I'm adding my elderberries for prosperity and wish fulfillment. Ooh. I am adding my Oregon grapefruit. Come on. Because of course, there we go. And this, I'm adding this for drawing money, prosperity, and also popularity. Because I think that, really one of my main focuses is working with people and community. So I'm going to add a bunch of that. And I'm not going to sing the song, but I want to be popular. And now you're all singing the song in your head. So I've done my job. Next is the bay leaf. And I'm going to go ahead and crush this one up and add it in. And that's just a general herb for prosperity. And I have in my mind now exactly what it means to me. And prosperity to me is, like having fun, meeting people, feeling comfortable that I can comfortably take care of myself and pay my bills, and having a life that I enjoy. Because I've never really enjoyed going to the office. I did it, I didn't think about it. I much prefer writing, meeting with people, and either online or in person, and exchanging ideas. So my next thing up is a pinch of my basil salt. Well, we'll do 2 pinches because I like the protection. And I'm going to close this one up because surely there is a 100% chance that I will spill it before this is over if I don't. And my final thing is, this is the kava kava, and it protects against evil, and it's for good luck. And it's also a really good medicinal herb. So Does it smell good, Jill?
Oh, it smells amazing.
Do
Put
you want to?
cloves in mine and lavender and sage.
Nice.
And yeah, I think that was it for the herbs. But
Yeah, and when you,
oh, peppermint, because I have peppermint outside.
yes, peppermint is a good one. Um, I've got spearmint because I like spearmint a lot better than peppermint.
Oh, I think
Um,
that's what mine is. It grows
yeah,
out front.
yeah, I did the thing where I planted it in the ground. I know. I was
Doesn't
young.
help if you put it in a pot either.
Oh, okay, it just goes everywhere. Well, I think that in my side yard, the ferns have won the battle. So that's good. But like, and that's like away from my house on the other side of the sidewalk. My side of the sidewalk, it's the spearmint, and it really likes where the hose is because when I turn it on to go water stuff, it leaks right at the spigot. And so that is where my spearmint lives. Okay, so if you have written out your phrase, you can put that in the bag if you want, or if you've created a sigil, put that in the bag. And again, you're thinking about what your specific goal is. And it's not like when you're saying what each is for, it's not like this is a performative spell. This is really about keeping your intention really focused. Now, the next thing I'm going to put in is I'm going to put in my buffalo tooth, and I'm going to say that that is for wealth and prosperity and responsibility. Now I'm going to put in my little cauldron because I want to um, infuse my magic into it. And I want to make sure that this brings me a life of creative fun working with like minded people. And that is magic. Then I'm going to put in my little teapot, which is for feeling secure and safe in my home. And I will put in my little money bags. I wish you guys could see this. It's adorable. Or
We can actually see it pretty well.
okay, and that's for bringing the prosperity to me through my creative work, and then my key for unlocking doors and opening pathways before me. So I got everything. That's everything that I'm going to put in my bag. Now, what we're going to do next is we're going to take the bag and hold it in your cupped hands, right? And you are going to breathe into the bag your intention. And you'll, imagine sort of the feeling you'll have when you already have the thing, right? If it's abundance, maybe it's relief. If it's healing, maybe that feeling is comfort. If it's, I don't know, what else you want? Confidence, maybe you feel more sure of yourself, right? So you're going to take 3 deep breaths and breathe that intention, that feeling that you're going to get when this is real. Make it real now and breathe it into your spell. And you can just do this silently. You don't need to say anything. Now, as an alternative, if that isn't resonating with you, there are a lot of traditions in which they will simply speak their intention 3 times aloud. So, I might say, I want prosperity to come to me through my creative work and my creative partnerships with a lifestyle that is fun. That's a really long one, but I'm trying to be as specific as I can. You could say something more along the lines of, may this bag allow me to recognize opportunities. right? And you just say it 3 times. It's the same thing as the breathing in. I like the sort of the feel of having it close to me, breathing in, and not just sort of like proclaiming to it. But that's just me. If you want to speak your words, speak your outcome, that's perfectly fine. And I like the words remind me instead of like, oh, like may opportunities come to me, make these opportunities come to me, because you're acknowledging the fact that you have a part to play in an ongoing way. And one of the reasons you carry the bag with you is to sort of develop and deepen your relationship with the magic. So you like keep it close because it keeps your energy. And that's, why in a lot of ways, oh, look what I did. I forgot to add my crystals. Oh, now I gotta pick this up again. All right, put it on the table next to the camera. Oh. A lot of times this is how my magic goes, right? It's like, oh wait, I didn't do that part, and that's fine. When you're doing spell work, it's like you don't necessarily need to get everything perfect and have it perfectly scripted. Life is messy, and magic is too. So I'm gonna I'm gonna put a little amethyst in there because that's very protective. And again, part of me wanting abundance is that feeling of being safe. The next thing is green aventurine. And green, basically, because of the color, because of the symbolism. And then I'm going to do a piece of green jade. Same reason. And jade is fancy. And I want my abundance to be a fancy life. What else? Oh, yeah, I'm going to add some black obsidian because, again, this is a protective stone. And so I like that.
That's the name I was trying to think of the other day.
And then I'm going to add some labradorite because it's sort of greenish, but it's also like gets these really rainbowy shimmers in. And it's one of my very favorite stones. So I'm going with it. And I think I'm looking around at my little chips. Because of course I have even smaller ones. But I think that's everything that I want to put in there. And because I didn't, I was breathing into the bag, I'm going to do it one more time so the crystals can have my intention as well. Okay, I'm back on track. And, if something does feel like you messed it up, you can change it, you can start over, you can add other stuff later. If I remembered tomorrow that I didn't add the crystals, I could go back, set those in with my intentions, and that's just fine. So it's sort of like if you, let's see, what do you do with a bag once you're living the intention? You can carry it with you. The leather bags that I've got leather bags with longer string, and I sometimes wear that around my neck. You can put it in a pocket. You can put it in your purse. You can hang it from your rear view in your car, particularly if it's something about staying safe and not getting into accidents and that kind of thing. So yeah, you can put it on your altar. You don't have to carry it with you. It's more common to carry it with you because, it's like, again, you're building that relationship. You keep it close to you, but you don't. What about afterwards, like down the road? Well, some things will be sort of they'll go on forever, for the rest of your life. I'm personally going to want prosperity for the rest of my life. Some, maybe you're doing a bag specifically for a decent
Healing.
for healing, yeah. Or I was going to say a decent, a positive verdict in a court case, right? That's got a very specific end, and you are doing it for that. And then what I would do is dismantle it. A lot of people say bury it. I would likely bury the herbs, and sort of release the intention from the crystals and the charms, and repurpose those. That's what I would do. But whatever you feel comfortable with. Maybe you want to keep it because it was effective and you want to remind yourself. And so then it just becomes like an artifact of your life. And I've got a box that has some of my old spells. Typically, I release them out into nature. I will bury it, or I will scatter, if it's herbs or whatever. I try not to put anything toxic out there because I don't want any critters getting into it and getting sick. So I tend to not put the wax out and those kinds of things. But, I take it and I remember what the spell was for, and then I dispose of it responsibly. Now, we're going to seal up the work now. Now that we've sort of infused our intention and all of that, you can tie the bag. So you're going to, if you have a string that, you might have a string that you're wrapping around to tie it. I'm just going to tie this together. And as I do, you want to say something about sort of sealing it. You can say something fancy, like, as this knot is tied, so too is the intention held. Very fancy. You can also say, it is enough, or it is done. Whatever it is that you think will seal it, and keep your intention in the bag and sort of in your mind. And that's another reason why I think it's a good idea to carry it, or at least have it somewhere where you can see every day, because it reminds you that you've set that intention, and you want to think to yourself, hey, what do I need to do today in order to move that intention forward? You can also, you can put it out of sight. You can put it under your pillow, and you can put it somewhere by a door, an opening into the house. And when you're doing any of those things, the bag becomes sort of an ongoing conversation. And that too helps with, having it be effective. Now, I do want to say, I want to read to you a couple of different kinds of conjure bags. And there is in this book, and this is a great book, if you feel like you want some more direction, this is, I'm sorry, it's backwards, the Element Encyclopedia of 5,000 Spells. And it's by a woman named Judica Ills. And she's got a bunch of these, like they're sort of, they're like reference books. And it's just a whole bunch of spells, and you can get ideas. And I think that the reason that I like this book is I've read a lot of her stuff, and she's written other kinds of books that are not reference books. Thanks, Karen. But I feel like she's kind of the real deal. And so a lot of stuff you find out there is like, who knows? Are people just making that up? A lot of stuff online. And but she's really has an authoritative voice, I think, in the magical world. So if you're looking to be really specific, like there is, let's see, there's a bag for a conjure bag. These are conjure bags, and they're very specific. A bag for lunar blessings. right? Like you're asking the moon to bless you. If you're asking for money, there's a conjure bag called a money bean conjure bag, and you place 7 distinct kinds of money. So, a quarter, a dime, a nickel, a penny, maybe it's some currency from somewhere else in the world. And then you put 7 distinct beans, right? You might have a kidney bean, a black-eyed pea, a navy bean, whatever. And then you write down your financial desire on some brown paper. And again, whatever your specific is, and you add it to the bag. And then you carry that bag around. So she's got a lot of much more specific recipes. I wanted to give people something, I wanted to give you all something that you could do with what you have or what is easily available. I forgot to mention earlier that you can also use something that you find in nature. I didn't have time today because I was trying to gather up all my jars and my crystals and everything, but you can go walk around. For a prosperity bag, acorns are great because they are such potential, right? It grows into this massive tree. It's this tiny little thing, but within it is the potential to grow that tree. And so that's a really common thing that people use when they're working abundance or prosperity spells. So that is everything I have on the charm bags. And unless anybody has any questions, did I miss any? No, I got it. Thank you, everybody, for being here. If you want to jump into the conversation, please join me over in school. And it's Awaken Your Magic in the school community. Or you can continue to watch here. I will be, over the next few days, I will be posting a tool that you can use that will generate the herbs, the crystals, like suggestions for you if you're confused on where you should go. And I've been building that out, and I just need to test it now. It's done, but you'll be able to see that, jump in. Thank you so much, Jill. Jill has put the link down there for my community. So yeah, you'll be able to call that up, and it'll suggest to you some things that you can start with. But always try and remember, whatever spell you're working, make sure it's personal. If it's your personal symbolism, if it's an object that is important to you or meaningful in some way, whatever that is. If you have something that is meaning abundance that has to do with the color red, put a red piece of paper in your bag, or use a red bag. And red does, in other cultures, red does symbolize abundance and money. So whatever is personal to you, feel free to learn from the people and the common wisdom that has come before you, but always, always make it yours with the stuff that matters to you. So thanks, everybody, for being here. I really appreciate it. And I will be announcing tomorrow what next week's live will be on. So thanks, everybody, and hope to see you next week.